You know, it's sad. There are people out there who only buy Nintendo consoles, and there are many franchises they'll never play. God of War, for example, is a great series, beloved by many for its grotesque, yet satisfying combat. I mean, I haven't played any of the games either, but I've heard they're good. What about Halo? A series famous for its engaging story and cool characters. Oh wait, the collection's on Steam and for Windows computers. Alright. The punchline here is Marvel vs. Capcom. None of these slick, fast-paced fighters have ever made it to a Nintendo console. I mean, they aren't on Stadia either, but if you're buying a Stadia for Marvel vs. Capcom, well, that would be like buying an N64 for an RPG. Good luck with that.
You gotta be shitting me!
All of them are either on PlayStation, Xbox, or even Steam. So, will Capcom ever release a Marvel vs. Capcom game for Nintendo consoles? Well, what if I told you they already did? Well, kinda. You can push yourself to the limit, be sure to jump with me. You can fly above the rainbow with me, close your eyes and just believe. Tatsunoko Vs. Capcom is the black sheep of the Vs. Capcom collection for a multitude of reasons. First, the game isn't Marvel, or SNK, or Namco, or whoever else the Capcom cast has a bone to pick with. It's the first and only game in this series. Speaking of which, yeah, unlike the other Vs. Capcom games, this game doesn't have any sequels. Tatsunoko hasn't teamed up with Capcom since. It's kind of like Capcom was drunk one night and had a one-night stand with someone who they thought looked hot, and the next morning Capcom ended up finding out they had a toxic personality, and then they kept calling like, oh, we'll change. You're like, no, you won't. And your friends and family start wondering who she is, and you're telling them, oh, it's just a one-time thing, and, wait, where was I? Oh yeah, Tatsunoko vs. Capcom was the only Vs. Capcom game on a Nintendo console. Shut up. Alright, fuck you. I get it, okay? This game has gathered an interesting following as being somewhat underrated given its odd redheaded stepchild status. So, is this game a forgotten gem? Or is this game better buried in the past? First, let's touch on the game's various modes. Arcade mode is arcade mode. What did you expect? You choose a difficulty, win points, go through 7 stages, then fight a final boss. The final boss in this case being an interesting choice, being Yami from Okami practicing origami in a salami tsunami. A game which also undersold, until everybody talked about it and now everybody knows and loves it. Barring a few people. I mean, what do you want me to say? It's a good arcade mode, because it's like most arcade modes. Though Yami can be a bitch to fight. Not only because it's so big it blocks its own damn health bar, but because it has 3 phases. One where it's just a ball and uses various devices against you, like a buzzsaw, a hammer, or just a plain hand.
I like it, cut G.
In its second phase, it becomes a huge ball with golden tentacles, and hilariously tiny feet. It shoots projectiles and will smack you around with its tentacles. In its final phase, it finally becomes a great big hand orb. It sounds dumb, but don't underestimate it. It shoots tornadoes, and if it gets a hold of you, you can expect a good 50% of your HP to disappear faster than traffic on Tumblr after they banned porn. Next, the online mode.
You gotta be shitting me!
Oh yeah, right. Well, survival mode is pretty straightforward. You go up against a slew of different opponents from the game until both of your fighters get KO'd, and with every battle you win, you gain a tiny bit of your HP back, until you're back up to full health. Not much more to it. Time attack, a mode where your goal is to win battles as quick as possible. Training mode, take a wild guess what this mode is for. And finally, the gallery. You buy artwork and costumes for different characters by using the points you've accumulated throughout the modes, along with getting yourself some intro movies to look at. Also, you can shop for different colors for your character. You don't like Black Jacket Frank West? Well, boom, play as White Jacket Frank West. And there you go. That's everything from this game single-player-wise. Of course, there's a one-on-one fighting multiplayer mode, but that requires a rare gaming accessory known as friends. And friends who will play a game with a title they can't pronounce. In a crossover game, one of the most important things to have is a good roster. So does this game deliver? Well, on the Capcom side, we have our veterans. Ryu and Chun-Li from Street Fighter, Roll from the original Mega Man series, Morgan from Darkstalkers, along with many newcomers including Beautiful Joe, Kaijin no Soki from Onimusha, Batsu from Rival Schools, Mega Man Volnut from Mega Man Legends, Alex from Street Fighter Third Strike, Saki from Quiz Nanairo Dreams, along with PTX-48 from Lost Planet, who I'll get to later. Also, if you get the Ultimate All-Stars version, you get Frank West from Dead Rising, who's had better days, and Zero from Mega Man X. This roster is probably my second favorite roster behind any Vs. Capcom game, only behind Ultimate Marvel 3. The diversity of characters from both old and new franchises, along with a huge influx of new fighters, makes this really feel like a whole collection of Capcom's greats. Of course, Resident Evil characters are missing. My guess is they wanted to take a Smash Bros. Brawl approach of where instead of actual guns, everyone uses lasers, which is why a lot of the characters sort of have a sci-fi theme going on. The Tatsunoko side has, and I'm gonna butcher these names, Kasan from Neo Human Kasan, Apatsuman from Gyakuten Apatsuman, Yatterman 1 and Duranjo from Yatterman, Karis from Karis, Palomar from Hurricane Palomar, Tekkaman from Tekkaman the Space Knight, Ken the Eagle and June the Swan from Science Team Ninja Gatchaman, and Gold Lightan from Gold Warrior Golden Lightan. The Ultimate All-Stars version also added 3 characters, Yatterman 2, Joe the Condor, and Tekkaman Blade. Interestingly enough, there's a character removed from the arcade version to the Wii version, whose name... I'm not even going to try this. From the show The Genie Family, who's removed from the game due to licensing issues and being unpopular with the Japanese audience. 2 characters from this game have an interesting gimmick, with them being Gold Lightan and PTX-40A, which I call the Big Robot gimmick, because I don't know what else to call it. What it does is that it trades you not being able to have a partner with having a whole lot of power behind every hit. This gimmick works a lot better for PTX than for the Roblox Golden Experience looking thing over here. Most of Lightan's moves hit so high that the rest of the cast will need to be jumping over for them to get hit. At the very least, PTX also has projectiles to make use of his power, while Lightan hits like a truck, who's levitating 40 feet up in the air. Both get hyper armor until knocked down to half HP, which sounds nice, except with equivalent exchange, Capcom traded that perk for a huge hurt box, making it both stupid easy to combo, or spam hyper combos, on both. Finally, the gameplay. Because this game was made for the Wii, the controls are designed for... Oh lord. I believe if you play this game with a normal Wiimote, you belong in a psych ward. First, treat yourself with some respect. Get a classic controller, and then we can talk about playing the game. There are 3 attack buttons in all. Light, medium, and hard attacks are all back, except for the light button, which may also get your character to dash instead, so be careful. Also, the Y button will tag in your partner, unless you're using a giant character, because they're lonely. And the trigger button will call in your partner for an assisting attack. Unlike Marvel vs. Capcom games, you don't have a choice for what they do. They are stuck to one attack that they will assist you with. Now I will quickly go over the mechanics. This game introduces Advancing Guard, which came back in subsequent Marvel games. This is where you can push away your foe and take less chip damage on block. Baroque cancels your current animation and cooldown time for the cost of your red bar. My question is, what does Baroque even mean? Relating to or denoting a style of European architecture, music, and the art of the 17th and 18th centuries that followed mannerism and is characterized by ornate detail. In architecture, the period is exemplified by the Palace of Versailles and the work of Bernini in Italy. Major composers include Vivaldi, Bach, and Handel. Caravaggio and Rubens are important Baroque artists. Finally, Mega Crash. This move costs 2 hyperbars plus 10% of your HP and blasts your opponent to the other side of the screen, breaking whatever combo they were doing to you. Oh, and PS Snapback is in the game, but only 3 characters can perform it. These being Gold Lightan, PTX-40A, and Alex, for some reason. There are more mechanics in this game, but those are the basics. So what's my opinion of this game? I think it's a hidden gem for the Wii. I believe it'd be interesting to see these 2 companies collide again in another game. Whether it be an X-Zone type RPG or another fighting game that's maybe not made in the Ark Survival Evolved engine.
What is that? What the fuck is that?
I think that'd be nice. I mean, imagine the new Capcom or Tatsunoko reps they could have. They could have the Zombie Mommy from Resident Evil 8, or Mega Man, or Mega Man, or Mega Man. And how about on the Tatsunoko side? We could see characters from shows like... Oh, well, son of a bitch. Or shows like Wake Up, Girls, or Mute King, the Dashing Warrior. I'm gonna be honest, I went through their entire list and I don't recognize any of these names, other than Transformers and Psycho Pass. So I say, if you're a fan of the vs. Capcom type team fighter system, you should buy this game online. Or, you know, just pirate it. Oh shit, Nintendo lawyers are here. Alright, gotta go.